Okay, for that camera, like, was slow there for a moment. How are you all doing? Well, I'm glad there's comments right at the beginning because I forgot to turn off the comment box so it's not just this pink blob. We only have a few clips today, but I do want to do the YouTuber stuff that I am usually not so great about. I've been getting a lot of new viewers from my YouTube shorts, so please do give a subscribe if you haven't already. I would truly appreciate it. And it's funny, some of my older shorts that didn't get much attention at the time are now getting quite a bit. I got some comments today on one that I did about pronouns, which I was laughing about, made myself laugh. So I would appreciate it if you would subscribe and like this video, or dislike it. Would hope you didn't dislike it, but if you do, engagement's engagement. I'm sure the Matt Walsh stans will be hitting the dislike button, and that is fine with me. You can follow me, and I want to center that on X Twitter, Karen Ann Harlos there. That's where I spend most of my time, so I would appreciate a follow there as well. I am a complete X Twitter. I don't think I can use the word in the first 10 minutes of this video, but let's just say I will follow you back. And last but not least, I would really appreciate if I don't have lipstick on my teeth. So, nope, no lipstick on my teeth. You know how paranoid I am. I'm gonna keep that drawer open. I would appreciate it if you enjoy my content, if you would consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. And of course, all super chats and super thanks matter. And to answer Dave Davis's question, no, I've had this lady for a while. This was a gift from Mike Seebeck. I switch it out with that and my 2022 Take Human Action Award. I switch out those with the Statue of Liberty, and I've got a few of them around, but this was a collector's item. It's got like even a little number on the back, but this was a gift from Mike, so I decided to put her up here for a little while. Okay, we've got about 6 clips from Matt Walsh, and let me take a sip here of my mimosa. I want to set up the context, and that little white corner in there is bothering me. It's my unicorn, my unicorn head from my Neil deGrasse Tyson video. Anyway, come on, stick your head over. It's bothering me. Get back in the corner. Well, I'm still going to see that little white blob there. But so here's the context with Matt. Actually, the video in whole, and this is a video, I don't recall the title of it. I can get it. It was somewhat recent, where he is dealing with a very, what I would call an extreme feminist, very lefty feminist, that is dealing with these weird feelings she has about her child. For most of the video, I think Matt is spot on, that it's really strange that a mother would write. It got bizarrely sexual, like a lot of really extreme feminist rhetoric does. It like turns everything into R-word analogies. It's really bizarre. But in the beginning, he talks about self-ownership, and that's what I want to deal with here. So the entire video Matt did wasn't entirely wrong. Matt's usually not entirely wrong, but he's wrong enough to meet that expression, not even right, you know? So we're just going to deal with his self-ownership statement. So the context of Matt's comments is he's starting to critique this lady's column. So that is the context, and we're going to go right to the first clip. Let's go.
When I first saw this article in The Guardian, in a brief moment of hopeless optimism, I thought, based on the title, that it might be making a valid and important point. And here's the title. When I became a mother, I lost my body and realized it never belonged to me. Now, that's actually true. As a woman, your body does not belong entirely to you. As a man, your body doesn't belong entirely to you. You are not an autonomous island floating alone out in the sea. Neither am I. I have responsibilities. I have obligations. I owe myself to others, especially my family.
Okay, he conflates several things here, but notice he outright denies self-ownership. Now, you might say that he qualified that in a way. Actually, he doesn't if you listen to the whole video in context. And he conflates several issues as he does. He denies the fundamental starting point by pretending that you start, halfway down the football field. Yes, today, me, and probably all of you, we do have multiple enforceable obligations against our bodies. But those are things that we voluntarily took on. So if you become a parent, yes, you have obligations to your children. That doesn't mean you don't own yourself. In fact, only self-owners can have obligations. It's why I don't believe in animal rights, because in order to have rights, you have to have responsibilities. You have to be able to take on obligations and have responsibilities to those obligations. But halfway down the football field isn't the starting line. It isn't tabula rasa. The starting point for these discussions, even if it's only a theoretical starting point, is you as yourself. And as yourself, you are a self-owner. He fundamentally denies that. And it's funny the way he does this little dance, because I think it was mask off for a moment, and then he caught himself. Because there was no purpose in saying, as a woman, you don't really own yourself. And then to go, and as a man, you don't. When you could have just consolidated that and said, you know what? None of us do. So I think he busted out with the woman thing, and I think that was his true feelings, that he believes that a lot more for women than he does for men. Now, maybe that's just my prejudice against his very extreme theocratic point of view, but the fact is we are self-owners. That's the only way we are able to take on obligations. So he's not wrong that most of us, in fact, probably everyone in my audience, we have obligations, but we took those on. And he doesn't, and never, that's what I kind of went, doesn't, he never starts from that place. And that's how he gets to all of these ways that he wants the state to interfere, because he fundamentally denies personal autonomy and self-ownership, thinking you have some kind of, that you're owned in some sense by society and by obligation. Now, I'm not conflating the two. Do I think that well-rounded, functioning, normal, mentally healthy people should voluntarily take on obligations to others? Yes. That's outside, though, the scope of what is enforceable and what is objectively true. What is objectively true is that you own yourself. The rest of the things are things you voluntarily take on upon yourself, and you don't have to, because you are free. You are free to be a terrible person if you want to be. Next clip.
But no person is autonomous. We all have duties that transcend whatever claims we might want to make.
See, I didn't take him out of context. No, we are autonomous. And no, there isn't transcendental claims other than your obligation not to aggress against other people. But that's a negative obligation. It's not a positive one. He is claiming positive rights that other people have upon you that you have no choice in whatsoever prior to them being taken on. They are just taken on automatically by virtue of your existence. And that is why conservatives, particularly conservatives in the realm of Matt Walsh, are fundamentally not libertarian. And I'm tired of hearing the bullshit that they are remotely libertarian. Just because you might hold one or two libertarian ideas, the reason why you hold them is important, because you're not a thoroughgoing libertarian if you don't hold them for libertarian purposes. And Matt fundamentally denies the foundational principle of libertarianism, which is self-ownership.
Autonomy. Like, there are lots of things that you can be forced to do. And if you are forced to do it, then your body is forced to do it. Because again, you exist and your body exists. They're one and the same. You are your body.
He does this really dumb thing where he thinks he's being really clever by pointing out that you aren't separate from your body. No shit, Sherlock. I don't think anybody's saying that. Well, I'm certainly not. But once again, in conflating, yes, I have enforceable obligations against me right now. I voluntarily took them on. He, again, is not starting at the starting line, but partly into the game. Now, this next clip, no, it's not this one. We're going to come up on one in a moment. For some reason, when I extracted out the video, only the audio came through. So there's going to be one where you don't get to see Matt. You're only going to hear him, but not on this next one. Let's go to the next one.
And this is especially true if you're a mother and a wife, or a father and a husband. Though it's also true of everybody, no matter their relationship status. That is my mind, soul, and body all together. They're a package deal. I get up every morning and care for my family. I go to work. I do things around the house. I pick up the sleeping 3-year-old from the couch and I carry her to bed. I lift heavy things that need to be lifted, whether physically or metaphorically. I do all of this and many other things with my body as my body, and I have no right, legally or morally, to just up and declare one day that I don't want to do anything for anyone else. I don't want to be forced to do anything, even for my own kids or my wife.
Well, actually, legally, he's wrong. You can, you might be forced to pay child support. So maybe in that sense he's correct, but you actually can give up your parental rights to the state. So he's maybe partially right there, but again, he's dealing with becoming a parent, which is your choice. And let's say you didn't choose to do so. Both parents can give their kid up for adoption and then they don't have any other further rights. Now, he's conflating, again, self-ownership with legally, because he was like, the claim of self-ownership, which is a claim of justice, which is a subset of morality, saying if you don't do X, then legally and morally, you've committed a wrong. Now, you might in the broader sense of morality, but not in the fundamental sense of you owning yourself. Other people have no positive obligations upon you. If you believe in positive rights, you are not a libertarian. It's as simple as that. Now, I know plenty of libertarians that are inconsistent. I'd like to just go back up to the big screen here a moment, because I'm going to wax a little poetic here. Now, I know libertarians who don't realize that they're arguing for positive rights. And, maybe I'll do the Rothbard thing where you have one or two deviations and okay, we all have our heresies, but not fundamentally denying self-ownership. And if you fundamentally embrace self-ownership, you cannot believe that there are any positive rights. In fact, the Libertarian Party platform does deny all positive rights. Some people don't realize that, but it does. And to go off on a little bit of a tangent, I'm going to just give you a little food for thought. This doesn't always click with everybody. I say it every once in a while, but I know when it dawned on me, it was like, oh, shit. This is why I'm an anarchist. You cannot even believe in a tiny state without acknowledging a positive right. And most libertarians will acknowledge that positive rights are fundamentally anti-libertarian. So why do you make an excuse for the state? What do I mean? Even in a state whose only role is protecting rights, I have to ask you the question, what happens if I compete with the state? Will they suppress that competition? If you say no, then they're not a state. They're just another provider competing in the marketplace. If you say yes, you're asserting a positive right. You're asserting a right that everyone has to suppress competition for everyone's rights protection, rather than individuals having the self-ownership right to take that upon themselves and not have it monopolized by a territorial monopoly on the justified use of force, otherwise known as the state. You cannot absolutely deny positive rights and believe in any kind of state. Just some food for thought. Okay, we're going to the clip now where there's no video.
That would make me neglectful and derelict and criminally so.
Criminally, huh?
There are also laws and other legal obligations that I'm expected to fulfill and obey with my body, as I do everything with my body as my body, because again, I am my body. Once again, these are obligations that supersede any notion of autonomy.
Notice how he said the state supersedes any notion of autonomy. I can't think of a more anti-libertarian statement, and he's very clear. He believes that the minute you're born with your body, because you are your body and one with your body, my God, what pedantic, just nonsense, that the minute you come into this world, you are a possession of the state. That is what he said. In other words, okay, let's continue.
So yes, it's true in this sense that my body does not belong only to me, as I myself do not belong only to myself. I am not a self-created being existing only for whatever purpose I decide, and neither is the author of this article.
And again, fundamentally denying libertarian principles, which of course, if you're not going to be a jerk or a bad person, which you have every right to be, doesn't mean that you should be. No, you do own yourself, Matt. But that doesn't mean you created yourself. Like, that was just a weird metaphysical jump. If you're saying that some kind of ownership claim requires creation, are you saying you're created by the state? No, of course you're not saying that. So it doesn't even follow logically through in your own argument, because nowhere in here did you mention God. Now, if you want to make some claim, as some Christians do, which I also think is pedantic, that you don't own yourself, God owns you. We're not dealing with the realm of the divine here, but he didn't even make that argument. He was putting the state in the place of God, which is one reason why I do think conservatism oftentimes manifests itself in a weird kind of idolatry.
Another is a fundamental misunderstanding about bodily autonomy. Namely, the feminist thinks that bodily autonomy, absolute bodily autonomy, can actually exist or should exist, and it can't.
Well, it does exist and it should, but that doesn't mean that you never take on obligations. Because again, healthy, mentally stable human beings who have a desire for community that is hard-grained in us will voluntarily take on obligations. But it is the voluntariness of it that makes it beautiful and meaningful. Okay, back up to the top here. So that is all the Matt Walsh clips I have. I really just wanted to deal with this narrow subject matter because I do get tired of people, because you want to know who will also acknowledge these points, though maybe not quite as bluntly. People like Vivek Ramaswamy. So don't be telling me he's libertarian, because he's not. He might be more libertarian than Matt Walsh. But what Matt Walsh is saying here is core conservatism. And what's interesting, and I'm probably going to be doing a show on this on its own. I've been listening to, oh crap, what's the author's name? The Righteous Mind, Jonathan Haidt. And I've got so many problems with that book. Like, I believe he's right in a lot of things that he says, but he dismisses libertarian ideas in kind of a weird way and argues. I probably am going to get the written copy of the book because there's some exact quotes I want to deal with, but he basically argues for law having to reflect the entirety of morality. So he dismissed the harm principle by saying, well, there are some things which nobody is directly harmed, but it offends the sensibility of, I forgot the terminology he uses, but he has those 5 areas of sensitivity, like, and one of them is like defilement of the divine, or defilement of community. And he was saying that any system which doesn't account for laws that can make those things illegal is an incomplete moral system. But that's just assuming that laws should be a moral system. Anyway, I'm probably going to get that book in hardback so I could do a specific critique of that area. I think there's a lot of great insights in that book. I do think he throws shade on autistic people, which I really did not at all appreciate. But again, the insights are super good. But his lefty libism that comes through as well, I don't particularly care for. But anyway, it certainly is a book worth reading and a lot of great insights in it. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for this show. I think I am going to do a history show tonight as well because I didn't do a show yesterday. It probably won't be long. Let's see what we got here in history. God, I have to tell you, this LP News, it's written very long-windedly. So we're just going to read some excerpts from it, and we'll see where we go. So I'll see you in a few minutes. You'll see another intro screen, and we'll probably do some LP history. All right, I hope you have an awesome rest of the night. Bye-bye.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want to